Alright, this is going to be part 3 of the top end teardown of the Raptor 660. So far I have the valve cover off, obviously the carburetors and such. So in order to get this head off of here, we're going to have to loosen that cam tensioner bolt down there. And obviously let that cam chain fall down, get the cam out of there, and also get your exhaust out of here. So I'm going to start with the exhaust first, which for me, I have an aftermarket muffler, which I'm going to take off just one bolt there, and then I have a clamp that sits right here. Once I take that clamp off of there, I can slide the whole slip-on off, and then up here, all you have to do for these flanges here is take this bolt out and take this one out, and then the other two over there. And for mine, I have to loosen this bolt here to allow this pipe to disconnect and slide out, so I can get this pipe off of here, and then this one will take off the rest of the assembly, and I should be able to slide it in through this way. So once I have that out, I can move on to the cam chain and getting the cam out. I've got those flanges off of my exhaust and they're ready to pull out. I went ahead and put the bolts back on the studs. And what you want to watch for after you have, your slip-on off, when you go to pull this out, there are exhaust gaskets that are sitting inside the head and they will most likely fall out, but you're most likely going to have to replace them anyways, so just make sure that you don't leave them in there or, lose them someplace in here. But mine are ready to go ahead and pull out. So you can just wiggle them back and forth a little bit. And if I had both of my hands, there's the exhaust gasket right there. All it is just a little circular ring. And I'm going to go ahead and separate this pipe so I can get the other one out and allow this one to pivot so I can pull it out this way. So once that's done, you can go ahead and move to the next step. That's what the exhaust gaskets look like. I did have one of them that was staying up in there, but just make sure that you get these out of there. The next step is moving on to getting out the cam, and the first thing you have to do is relieve the tension on the chain, which obviously it should be tight. If it's not, I'd be very concerned. But what you want to do is take out this center bolt right here on the side of the jug. Take out this first, and then use the Allens on the side. Go ahead and take that out so you can get the whole tension out of there. Once you do that, you should have plenty of slack to be able to lift the chain up a little bit. All you got to do is pivot the cam up. So once you pivot the cam up, this will be able to slide up and you can get the chain off of it. And I would just allow the chain to fall down in there and you can take the cam up out of there. Forgot to mention that that center bolt is spring loaded, so be careful whenever you're taking that out. It does have a spring attached to it and it'll most likely shoot out, so just keep pressure on it until you get all the way out and make sure that you catch this spring. Alright, well here is my cam tensioner, which doesn't look like it's pulled out all the way, which they could be different sizes, I really don't know. But as a rule of thumb, once you pull these out, make sure that you can press down on this tab right here, press down on it, and slide it all the way back in until it sits like that. Because once you go to install this again, and you put the bolt back in with that spring, it pushes this out and sets the tension for your chain. But go ahead and make sure yours does that now before you go to proceed. To get this guide out of here, all I used was the Allen key that I was trying to use earlier. I just stuck it down in the little corner and pried up on it just barely, and now that is easily able to come on out. There is another guide that is on the other side, but you won't be able to get that out because it's bolted in on the crankshaft, right next to the crankshaft. It's bolted on, but there is another guide that sits right there. That's what that tensioner pushes against. And it is on the other side, but the only one that you can take out is this one. So once you slide that up, you're able to pull that on up all the way out. Like so. At this stage, go ahead and take your spark plug out if you haven't already. I'm getting ready to take mine out. And to get the head off of there, go ahead and start with this one Allen That's on the back of the head. Go ahead and take that one out. And then you have the 4 bolts. You have 2 on the outside here, and then you have the 2 on the inside. When you go to take these off, do it in a crisscross. So start in one corner, go to the other, then the adjacent corner, and then the last one. Forgot to mention in that shot, there is a bolt for the head that is on the front, right here. You're gonna have to use a wrench or a crow's feet to get that. And there's also one on the back holding that on. Make sure you take those off. And the head should be able to somewhat easily come off there, a lot easier than a valve cover. I left a little water spout on here so I can lift it up using this if it is stuck, which it shouldn't be. Well, that's not good. I doubt I can get my phone to focus, so I'll probably just show the picture of it. But it made a little bit of a suctioning noise whenever I pulled this out of there, and it almost sounded like something drained into it. So I'm assuming the bottom of this hole that this one came out of is shot completely, and I doubt I can get my phone to focus while I'm video for this as well. But the bolt itself looks like it's been stretched a ton. I can't get my phone to focus on it, but only 2 of the bolts look like that. I don't understand why, but man, does it look terrible. This is the only one that I've had particles come out of. The rest of them didn't. This one just looks like it's been rusted. I don't know if I cleaned that one up too much when I did it several years ago, but it almost looks like it was just, you know, old and rust caked on it. But like these 2 are very tapered right here. It almost looks like they were stretching a lot, and these 2 were the hardest ones to get out. So I'm kind of curious to what I'm going to find underneath here. But I have both of mine off of here, so it should be ready to come up. So I don't know if this is going to provide some resistance onto it. It does feel like it is. So I might have to get me a block to knock up against this and just lightly tap it to see if I can knock this up off of here. Alright, the head is off, and I got it off with a little bit of trouble because the head was sticking on this side of the jug, and I had to keep hitting on that water neck just little by little so I could see the back end of the head lift up. Then I went ahead and got my fingers dirty a little bit and stuck it in the exhaust port and kept rocking it back and forth until I got it to pop up off of there, and the head gasket went with it. But as far as I can see, everything looks fine. I'm getting ready to turn the engine over to see if I see anything like unusual, but so far piston's all intact. The whole jug surface, you know, looks fine. As you can tell, this bolt definitely looks corroded. I don't know how that got so much corrosion on it. This one has, you know, oil in its hole. That one's pretty corroded, and you know, that one looks, you know, ish. And the hole where that very rusted out bolt came through, I don't know how that happened, but it did. This one, not too shabby. And then this is the hole that came out with a whole bunch of particles stuck to it. It almost looked like metal. I can't really get my phone to see down into that hole, but it almost kind of looks like there's not much of threads left in that hole. So yeah. And also the bolts that I took out, you know, the one that was on the back here and the one that was on the front, they're all tapered, which looks like they've been tugged on before, or, you know, whenever this happened. So it almost looks like all the bolts that were holding the jug and the head together, plus, you know, to the block, they all look like they got stretched somehow. So I'm getting ready to get the rest of this jug off of here, which, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and take this radiator hose off of here. So I'm going to go ahead and take that clamp off of there, and I'm going to go ahead and just take it off the water pump too, so I can slide this off and just take it off the water pump and get it out of my way. Then moving on to all the bolts, which are the 4 bolts. So 2 here, 2 on the other side, and then you have a Allen, 2 Allens over here on the other side. So I have to take off, you know, the one that's on the cracked edge and the one behind it. That should be it. After you do that, the jug should be able to come off. Now, it is going to be a little harder to come off because you have your piston that you have to worry about whenever you're sliding it up. But just be careful that you do not knock dirt down into this hole. I'm going to clean my hands up real good. I'm going to clean this surface all around it with some brake clean and wipe it down to make sure I don't knock any dirt or debris down inside the hole. Well, I think I found some of my issue. This bolt right here holding the jug down is so loose that I can do it with just a few fingers on a ratchet. So I'm hoping that it somehow didn't get lodged, or like, not lodged, but like broke off down in there. So far, that one has been tight. I'm getting ready to check this one here. That one's tight. And that one wasn't very tight, like at all. So these front two ones apparently backed off, or they're broke, one of the two. But I'm getting ready to just back them all off and see what exactly happened here. Let's see if I can get it up over that broken bolt. It's stuck on the piston right now. There she is, with that bolt even being broke. Those threads are literally stripped on the inside there. But here's that corner where it broke off. And see if I can push that bolt up out of there. I think that's the dowel pin for the block. Yeah, that's the dowel pin right there. And there's all the threads for the case. So I don't know what I'm going to do about that just yet, but I'm going to check that gasket down there and then check in that hole. Worst case scenario, I'd have to buy that side of the case to replace those threads. But that's it for now. Alright, first things first, before you do anything at all, go ahead and put clean paper towels, and obviously not like this one, and put a whole bunch of clean paper towels that don't have a bunch of foreign material that comes off of it. Make sure you use clean paper towels and just stuff as many as you can down in this hole so you don't get any dirt down inside your engine. Alright, first things first, before you do anything at all, go ahead and put clean paper towels, and obviously not like this one, and put a whole bunch of clean paper towels that don't have a bunch of foreign material that comes off of it. Make sure you use clean paper towels and just stuff as many as you can down in this hole so you don't get any dirt down inside your engine. I didn't show it inside the video, but the rest of those threads, there was like 2 or 3 left that was in the case. The bolt pulled out the rest of them, so I went ahead and drilled those out, and I ordered me a helicoil kit that was a M10 by 1 1/4. That's what the manual said that it was an M10, and I measured the thread size and it said it was a 1 1/4. So I bought the kit online that came with the tap and the tool to install the helicoil, and I have installed it as of right now, and I tried one of the better bolts and they did work, so I guess that may work for you. I'm not going to do a video on it because I'm not a professional with it. That was my first time using one, so I'm not going to make a video on me like doing that. But as of right now, I'm going to buy me a jug kit that comes with a new piston, the new jug, all the rings, and a couple of the gaskets. So I'm going to have to buy a whole top-end gasket set separated from it. But it comes with all new jug bolts. I hope so anyways. And I'm going to buy new head bolts as well because all of these were kind of ruined. I want to go ahead and get new ones anyways. And I'm most likely going to try to see if my local machine shop will surface that new jug and surface the head, and I'll ask him if there's any valve work that needs done. I'm going to see how much it's going to be because I really don't want to spend a whole heck of a lot on this four-wheeler because it's broke down so many times. But that's what I plan on doing for right now. But yeah, that's about it. So if you have any questions so far, remember to ask any questions down below, and please subscribe.